Hi everyone, this is part 2 of my goal reset for the end of 2022. So go ahead and grab your goals and some paper and pencil and come and join me. Hi everyone, this is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. Today I want to continue talking to you about a goal reset. In the last video, I talked to you about looking at your Horizon 2 from the GTD process, or your areas of focus and accountability. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up above so you can watch that one first and then come back and check out this second part. What I wanted to go over with you today is I wanted to show you when we left off in that last video, I was about to do my MakseLife Compass Assessment because I am trying to figure out, now that I've had a change in my life, I'm trying to figure out how to refocus my goals for the remainder of the year. Now, I think that August is always a time when I look at refocusing and resetting goals, because being a teacher for all of those years, when you would be looking forward to starting a new school year, setting new goals, meeting new students, and so that is just kind of part of my system now, and I always like to take a look in August and see what I need to do to reset for the remainder of the year. Also, we've had some changes in the house. My daughter is back home after college, and so there's some changes that need to go on there as well. So I sat down with my Compass assessment and I took a look at last year's numbers and cleaned that form off, and then I went back and started a brand new Compass assessment. And as you can see here, MakseLife does a great job of really honing in on those areas of focus and accountability, and really helps you establish a baseline point of where you're at. So they ask you a series of questions that you need to answer and think about, and then you get scores for each one of those life areas. The way that you get that score is you total up all of your raw scores, divide by 8, and that gives you an average score for that particular area. So if you can see here, I went through and did all of the questions, and I went through and did all of the calculations, and I added that information back to the original Life Compass that I did in January. I wanted to really be able to compare the two. So let's take a look on the computer screen here, and I will show you exactly what that looks like. So here we are at our Compass assessment, and again, you can download this from the MakseLife website. They have it available for you to use, and I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see this. Actually, let me do this. Let me take this and add it to my goals page so that you can see everything together. All right, I'm going to go up here to the draw tool. I'm going to lasso this entire page, which will then grab all of my writing and highlighting and everything together. And I'm going to make a copy of that. Then I'm going back to my goal planning page, and all the way up at the top, right next to the one that I did in January, I am going to paste that as a picture so it will not move around. All right. It looks like it brought it in a large size. I don't need it that big, so we can shrink that down simply by grabbing that corner. Okay. Good. Now, if I want to put a link here to that page where I can see all of the assessment information, I can do that as well. Let me go back to that page while I'm here. And I am going to right click and I'm going to copy a link to this page. Then I'm going to go back to my goal planning page and I'm going to insert that link. Let's do that. Let's do a link here, and I'm going to say August Compass. And I'm going to put a link to that page in there. And I'm going to say okay, so that when I take a look at this, if I want to go back and look at exactly what my scores were, I can do that. So the way the link works is if I copy it, click on that link, it takes me back to the page where I can see all of my scores and my answers. Okay, hitting the back button will then take me back to my goals page. All right, so let me zoom in a little bit and show you a little bit about this compass. All right, now what I did here is I simply took the picture from the Life Compass that I did back in January, and I put my new scores around so you can see those here drawn in blue. And from my perspective, I can see that my life is a little bit more in balance now than it was in January. In January, I had some low areas, like this area of fun and recreation was kind of low, and the area of health and wellness was a little bit low. And then my physical environment was a little bit low. And you see now that I have answered the questions in such a way that I feel like I have a little bit more balance. I've made great progress in fun and recreation, partially because it's summertime and I can be outside with folks, and partially because I have made an effort to do that. Now, if you'll notice over here under financial, there is an area that has decreased a little bit, and that's because I kind of fell off the wagon with some of my tracking of my expenses. Not that there's anything financially wrong, it's just a question of the habits that I have not been keeping up on. So I know that that's an area that I really need to focus on for the remainder of the year, getting myself back on track. Okay? All right, and then I also highlighted the answers down here. So January is the pink and August is the yellow, so that that's very clear for me to see. Okay? Now, what do I do with this information? Well, like I just mentioned, this really helps me see the areas that I need to focus on. So I have made some strides in my physical environment, but not as many as I would like to have. My fun and recreation has come up, but I still could work more on that. Work and learning has come up again, but still that's an area that's a little lax for me. And then health and wellness has come up significantly because I have really been focusing hard on that. So I think that's a good thing. Those are skills that I want to maintain. Now, if I take a look back over here at my brainstorming list of things that I wanted to get done in 2022, like I mentioned in that earlier video, there's a big section here for a project called Basement Cleanout, and I divided the basement into 6 different areas, and my goal was to tackle each one of these areas over a 2-month period. And as you can see, I haven't done any of it. I confess, I have not done any of it. So shame on me, I know. And then also over here for finance, you see that there's not very much listed there as well that's been completed. So in my mind, looking at my life compass and my goals, I know that those are 2 areas that I really, really need to focus on. Okay. Let's see. Let's jump down to the areas of focus. I showed you this in that last video as well. So on this chart, I have my areas of focus, and they are listed here in the colorful bands. And so that's on the left-hand side, and I am somebody who has 12 areas of focus that I look at, because I take my relationships and I break them up into spouse, family, and friends. And then I also have, my home and work environment, my recreation, my creativity, my gardening, my Crystal Clear Life YouTube channel that I do, and then my spiritual work. Okay, so those are my 12 areas that I focus on. And then over here on the right hand side of the chart that I have, I try to break down for August. For example, this is where I'm currently working. In August, in week 1, what was I really trying to, work on and focus on in these goals? And for week 1, I really wanted to go up and look at those Horizon 2 from the GTD method, or the areas of focus and responsibility that I have in my life. You know, your job descriptions, your role as a parent, as a spouse, as a friend, as a mentor, all of those kinds of things. So I wanted to take a look at those. And that's something that I did in the first week of August. We also have a new pastor at our church, and I had been away for most of the month of July, so I wanted to check in and see if there was any way I could help get him settled any more than he already is. So that was a focus last week as well. Then I'm moving on, and one of the things that I want to continue doing is learning more about Instagram and being consistent in Instagram and really trying to post over there on a more regular basis. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you can look me up. It's Crystal Clear Life 21. I also have a Facebook page if you want to check that out as well. You just can kind of see some of the before the pen and a little bit more detail into some of the planning that I do on those two platforms rather than just here on YouTube. Anyway, back to my goals. One of the things that I really need to focus on in August is my budget goal, number one budget goal, which is tracking my expenses and writing all those things down. It got a little sketchy in July with us traveling and really, you know, having the conversion from pounds to dollars and all of that kind of thing. I just kind of let July slip. So I really should go back and track it, but we'll see. I also have down here for the last 2 weeks or the last 3 weeks of August, I really need to focus on that basement. I made that commitment to myself, and I really need to make a dent in getting some of the things in the basement cleaned out and organized and rearranged. Especially now that my daughter's home and she needs some space to store a few things, and I really just, it needs to be done, and I need to get my butt in gear and get it done. I also know that I have slacked off some on my reading, and so I want to get back to doing a little bit more reading. I love to be able to read every day and learn something new every day. And again, the summertime seems to just really have thrown things off track. So I'm trying to get back on track with that. And I do want to make some more connections with my friends. With it still being nice weather and being able to be outside, I would like to be able to see more of my friends. So that sounds like what my August is going to be looking like, which is a good thing, okay? Now, one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, if you look back over here at my areas of focus and the goals that I want to work on for each of those areas, you will see things like, let me just start up here at the top. You will see things like for health and wellness. I have some things that are listed as M goals, which are maintenance goals, which means I know what I'm supposed to do, and I kind of have that habit, and I just need to really maintain those. Then you see for scheduling, some of them I have listed as Q1, meaning I want to do it in the first quarter of the year, or January, February, March. I have some listed as Q2, more maintenance goals. Some of them are listed for Q2 and Q4, like visiting my sister. Some of them are multiple, so Q2, 3, and 4. I'm pretty good with those goals and being able to schedule them here in this spreadsheet. But what I'm having trouble with is those maintenance goals. Now, I do have a monthly habit tracker, but these aren't always habits. They're more, checking in with people and like this one here, maintaining monthly contact with extended circle of friends. That's not something that I have on my habit tracker, but it is something that I do like to keep track of. Now, last year, I used a system that I liked pretty well, and I think that I'm going to go back to it for the remainder of this year. Now, remember, this is an old page from last year, and this is how I used it, and I think I'm going to use it again for the remainder of this year. Okay, so I made myself a note here that says, this system, meaning this spreadsheet, seems to be working to generate what goals I need for the year, but tracking the progress of maintenance goals is not working. So I may go back to this weekly. Let me show you what this is. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And again, this is an old one from last October. Okay. On the right-hand side here, there is a place for me to look back at my September goals and talk about what worked, okay, for me, the people that I am grateful for, also what didn't work, not blaming myself, not, like my basement goal. There's no need for me to beat myself up about that. I just need to come up with a better plan to get it done. So, and then lessons learned. So I want to have a space to record all of those things for the previous months. And then again, I have my 12 areas of focus and the things that I want to maintain. And then I have little boxes here for the weeks so that I can check them off. For example, in October, meal planning for each week. You see I have a little dot for the first 3 weeks. I did a good job meal planning for those 3 particular weeks. Okay, so I think I'm going to reinstitute this program for the month of August and September and see how that works. I'll just add this really as a page. Actually, I did add it for a page. So let me jump over to August, I think, and I'll show you. I think I did that already. All right, so yes, here are my August goals. And I went ahead and set that up for the month of August. And you see here that I have, walking 10,000 steps 4 times a week. That's a new goal that I have under my health and fitness. And then I have my 5 boxes here that I can check off if I have accomplished that by walking my 10,000 steps 4 times a week. And so this will really help me with those maintenance goals. And there's also an area over here where I can look back and reflect on the month prior as I start establishing those goals. Okay? That's really it for today. I just wanted to show you that process that I went through of going through the MakseLife Compass and reassessing the areas that I need to take a little bit closer look at, looking at those goals that I haven't accomplished this year, and really trying to develop a plan to keep moving forward. Not only that, but I realized that tracking my maintenance goals was not working for me either, so I needed to come back to a system that I know worked in the past. So all in all, I think I'm back on track for the remainder of the year, and I think that my goals will certainly be aligned with what my areas of focus are at this time in my life. Anyway, here's hoping that you can live a more simplified and organized life through better planning. I use OneNote. Okay, until next time. Okay, bye.